What if intuition isn't a gift, but a superpower waiting to be unleashed? Join Katherine Troyer and myself for the special edition of the Happy Hour for the Spiritually Curious podcast. Enjoy these no limits, no boundaries, raw, unfiltered conversations. So, what if your energy wasn't meant to be constant but seasonal? In a world that demands 24/7 productivity, we often forget that we are cyclical beings, just like the earth, just like the moon, the tides. In this episode, Katherine and I are exploring the power of tuning into your personal seasons, the creative upswings, the quiet winters, the inner springtimes of rebirth. Because when you honor your soul's natural rhythms, everything in life starts to flow with more ease, clarity, and magic. So let's talk about how to stop forcing, start listening, and align your life with the most ancient rhythm of all, nature itself. Hey, Katherine, how are you today?
Hi, Sandra. I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. So I have a question for you. If your soul were in a season right now, which one would it be and why?
Well, like an actual season, I am very much in spring right now. And I think we were just recently talking about how I feel like I'm very much nesting. And not in the same sense that, like, we kind of get in this hibernation mode in fall to prepare for winter. I think it's different, right? It's more creation. I've been finding myself kind of going back to uh going back to things that I used to really like enjoy doing, like randomly making candles on a Tuesday in the middle of the day when I was like, oh, I should be doing these things, but I've been decluttering, and I mean like going through every closet, every drawer, and I've been doing that for several weeks just on a whim as it hits me because it's like I want to create space. And then also I'm in this more actionable creative energy and it feels like kind of getting my space now that it feels cleared out from, the heavier energy and more hibernation energy of winter. It's like, okay, it's time to like clean up, clear things out, open the windows, open the doors, like roll away that rock if I'm a bear, right? And I'm ready to come out and see the sun. And I just feel like I've been doing that in my space so much and just kind of like really dialing it in, because by summertime, it's like I want it to really feel good and supportive for all of the new rituals that I'm adding into my life, the goals that I've set for the summer. And, for me, it's really important that my environment supports all of those things. So I'm very much in kind of like the birds have been in, they're nesting in order for creation, right? They have to get their nest ready in order to make babies and create something new in this world. And I've been finding myself doing the same at home. What about you?
Oh, gosh, I would say I'm definitely in spring mode. Like it feels good. I have the windows open in the house, the fresh air is coming in, and I have been outside digging in the dirt. I am in the middle of creating a mini orchard. And literally, when I say digging in the dirt, I am digging in the dirt and recreating. It's like new lifetime. To me, spring is all about newness, and it's, I'll be honest with you, it's not my favorite season by far, but right now I'm enjoying the energy of it, and I'm
Hmm.
enjoying creating like new life. Like I'm in this massive creation with the earth mode. Hard to explain.
Yeah, I feel very similar just in my home with my business. Like I'm in creation mode, and it feels like things haven't fully landed yet. But again, that's more summer, right? Summer is like boots on the ground, action, let's go. And spring has honestly always been my favorite season ever since I was little. I'm like everyone else where I don't necessarily love when it's 30 degrees and then 60 degrees and it rains. And like, I don't love that part of it. But I've actually, as I've gotten older, because spring is my favorite season, I have found a way to embrace that. again, realize that it's that transition time between winter and summer. And so there has to be kind of that ebb and flow, because we're still in ebb and flow where we're still, contracting some and getting clear about certain things. And then we have days where we have more energy and more sun, and we can we're kind of going back and forth as well. So I've really tried to learn to embrace that, and also be grateful for all the rain and all of that as I see the buds start to, come on the trees. And like, to me, there is just nothing like the smell and the energy and the emergence of spring. Like, I have been in love with it since I was a little kid. It's always been my favorite time. And I've realized the older I get, like, I really am in tune and want to take advantage of that energy, because it's the energy that I think feels the most in alignment, that rebirth. It's such a literally a breath of fresh air to me and my soul.
I love it. And I'll say, I just made this comment yesterday, the day before, is I put all these trees in, and then it rained, and I was excited about the rain. I'm like, oh my God, my trees are going to get great rainwater. And I have no problems going out and pulling out the holes and watering them. But the quality of rainwater from hose water is just so different and the nourishing. So there was a lot of beauty for the rain with me. Have you ever had a moment where you were in winter, but the world expected you to be in summer?
Oh my gosh, for sure. Most definitely. What's coming to me is thinking about probably 15 plus years ago, where I went through a really, really, really deep depression. Like, it was not a good time in my life, but I was definitely in the season of winter and hibernating and everything like that. And I think, you asking that question, and me just sharing the first thing that popped in my head, I think that can be a reminder that we're out of alignment when we're not kind of naturally in this flow with the cycles of earth. Like, that's letting us know, hey, that's another, obviously when you're in a deep depression, something's wrong. I'm not saying that you just have no idea, but I think it's just like this other nod to realize how kicked out of alignment we are in that moment, because we naturally, I think, especially women, I will say, we're naturally have this connection to the earth and its cycles. When something is weighing on us heavy enough to bring us out of that natural cycle, we know, I think that, for more than a short period of time, I think it's another way for us to kind of that our environment around us, the world around us, is giving us confirmation of like, hey, like, something's not right, or there's something that's very deeply out of alignment right now.
How do you personally feel your inner seasons shift? So you talked about the creative. Is it emotional and physical also? Like, what do you think happens when we ignore our internal cycles and literally, like, we try to live linearly?
Yeah, well, I think that we often deal with burnout, we deal with stress, we deal with anxiety when we're trying to live out of alignment. I think it's where a lot of our ailments, we'll call it, come from, whether that's physically, mentally, or spiritually. And I think that it's not that it's hard to do it within our society, right? But I think that it's really important that we pay attention to those things. Spring is kind of that creation. Summer is more of that completion, action, right? It's ruled by the sun, that more masculine energy where it's let's go, let's do. Fall is where we're coming out of let's go and let's do, and we're starting to wind down and harvest all of the fruits of our labor, so that we can have that before winter, when we go inside and we're more reflective and we're in more of a hibernation state. We find ourselves wanting to be with small groups of people celebrating the year. And then, those last couple months of winter, I think sometimes also the reason why they suck, even if you have nicer weather than maybe we tend to have up in the north, like I think it gets very internal. You're very in your solitude and you're just sifting through all of this deep stuff, and that just because it's deep, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just it's when we're sifting and we're figuring out, okay, hey, where do I want to be? What do I want to start creating? But it's not time to create yet. Our society tells us that we can't take those pauses. But I think we're
Right.
seeing more and more over the last several years where people are saying, wait a minute, especially more women, hey, wait a minute, we need to move more with these cycles and be more in tune because it's really going to benefit all of us. Because we're not creating friction, we're moving with it. We're in more of a state of surrender, I think, energetically.
I like that. I like that a lot. I do think that I would agree with you that we're starting to change a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
people are recognizing the importance of cycles. And as you said, for women, it's much more obvious because there's just cyclical things are part of a woman's life all the time that affects
Yeah.
everything. But there's so many different cycles that are happening concurrently in our lives that we need to pay attention to that affects us. So I asked you about the winter. What about you really talked a lot about that spring. Can you remember a time when you had that like a really powerful inner spring, like what was being born and created? I'll be honest with you, I feel like I'm literally living one right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that's kind of the energy that I'm in currently. And I've definitely felt like this before. I remember it more specifically about 4 years ago, honestly, and that was when a lot of different shifts happened for me. I changed my business and just went super deep into myself and everything I was creating. And so it's definitely been about 4 years that I feel like I felt it this strongly. And while 4 years ago it felt more like exciting and experimental, this feels more exciting because of clarity.
Ooh, that's big.
Hmm. Yeah. And I know I don't have all the answers yet, but that's okay. Where at 4 years ago, it was like, I have all the answers. Let's just get, and now it's like, I know I don't have the answers, but like I see this path forward because I have clarity around a larger vision. And I know like that's really exciting to me. And I think that puts me in a more playful, creative mode rather than like get it done, create, like this very like structured, strategic way, right? I'm obviously trying to put structure and strategy behind it, but also realizing that I probably don't have it all figured out. And it's more beneficial for me to intuitively create every day with this larger vision kind of at hand, but also realizing that it can be fluid and loose instead of like, you know?
Well, it also sounds like you're moving out of a predominantly masculine energy or a masculine force that was motivating or overseeing things, we'll say, that's being injected with a little bit of that feminine that we're seeing now. I'll say, and I don't think it's spoken the right way necessarily. We're seeing the transition to much more divine feminine,
Yeah.
but I would like to say we're seeing a lot more injection of divine feminine to create that harmony
Yeah.
because it's not all one or the other. It's really about having that balance and that harmony. And just as you're speaking, like I can feel that energetically with you.
Yeah.
For the folks who are listening, join in the comments. We're going to play another game. We're going to call this game Soul Forecast. I'm really curious what folks are going to say. We're going to name a life moment or a mood and quickly say which season it feels like to you, spring, summer, fall, or winter,
Oh,
and why.
fun.
And why.
Oh,
So,
and why?
yeah,
Okay.
trust your gut, keep it playful.
Okay.
And here we go. It's Soul Forecast. You feel like staying in bed, canceling plans, and eating soup for days.
Winter, hibernation, being with self, eating, holding up and eating soup. I mean, that's so winter to me.
It is so winter, but it's also interesting to me because as I read it, it was like it's also very self-care to me.
But I think that's what winter is for. It's
Yeah.
for like, hey, you've got some space to do a little more self-care and to focus more on yourself. I think it's really meant for that.
That your question number 2, sorry, this one makes me laugh. You're full of new ideas, ready to start 10 projects at once.
Spring.
Yes.
Spring for sure.
You're cleaning your house top to bottom and letting go of old stuff.
Spring. Also spring.
Do you think sometimes that could be winter too?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it can also be fall.
Mm,
I think it can be winter, but it's more that winter to spring transition. And fall, I feel like I do it all the time whenever it just kind of the mood strikes me. But I feel that I do it most in a preparation manner in spring and fall because we're transitioning into those bigger seasons.
okay. You're in love and everything feels alive and bright.
I would say summer or fall for me.
Okay. You're
Yeah.
quietly journaling, resting, and daydreaming about what's next.
Hmm. I think that's very spring to me because it's like you're, again, like you're preparing for action, but it could be a little winter too. Again, I'm dreaming, I'm figuring out what I want to create.
You just cut your hair, bought new clothes, and feel like a new you.
God, I feel like so many of these feel very spring to me. I feel like that's what I do in spring, but I feel summer too, spring, summer.
Okay. You're moving slow, feeling reflective, and don't want to rush anything.
Winter.
You feel bold, expressive, and want to be seen.
Summer.
You're in a space of grief or release, even if nothing obvious has happened.
I wanted to intuitively say fall, but I'm not sure why.
It's interesting because I was going to say fall doesn't seem to be falling into anything. I will say fall for me is my favorite.
Yeah,
But fall is a season of endings, so I could see I could see that.
yeah. Hmm.
You're full of hope but haven't taken action yet. You're waiting for the right moment.
Spring into summer.
Okay. Well, I'm really interested to see what the listeners have to say
Yeah, I'm very curious.
and really hear about what season they're feeling that they're in right now. What would you say it would look like to honor a season fully, even if no one else gets it?
Hmm. I think the biggest one we can see this in is probably winter, not to keep talking about winter, but I think that's really when it's so natural for us to be quiet, to not want to spend a lot of time, outside of our homes, to do a lot of quiet reflection and have a lot of solitude. And our society tells us, like, no, like life goes on, things keep going, or you should want to do stuff with people and yada, yada, yada. That's a way that you can kind of check in, I think, to see if you're kind of honoring the energy of the seasons. And also be mindful that fall is really a time for gathering and getting together. And that's really when most of our holidays
Yeah,
are. We don't experience winter solstice until a few days before Christmas, so
true.
we're really in that fall energy basically until the holidays are over, right? And it's also January, declutter, do all of this stuff, create your action plan for the year. Like, that's not the season that we're in. We're in reflection, and we need that reflection to figure out, where we're going once spring hits, right? And I think we benefit a lot come springtime, come summertime, when we're able to give ourselves as much of that rest, solitude, and reflection that we're able to. So again, not to keep talking about winter, but I feel like that's the one that probably causes the most friction within our society. And it's a good one to kind of experiment with and check in with.
Yeah, that's a great observation. So what are you up to these days, and how can folks connect with you?
Yeah, so you can find me if you want to connect, work together if you're more curious about how you can start implementing a home energy practice within your environment, your life, and your space. You can go to my website, myhomeenergetics.com, or you can find me on TikTok and Instagram by searching my name, Katherine Troyer, or My Home Energetics.
Okay, until next time, for our listeners out there, stay curious, stay open, stay tuned in. You've got this, and most of all,
love loud and live loud.
Until next time, thank you.
See you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Wild Soul Gatherings Happy Hour for the Spiritually Curious. To learn more about our guests, please go to our website, wildsoulsgathering.com. We're very eager to hear from our listeners what you thought of the episode, topics you might like us to cover in the future, your thoughts on spirituality, questions you may have. Please feel free to send us an email at wildsoulsgathering@gmail.com. This is your host, Dr. Sandra Marie, sending each of you peace and love. Until we meet again, embrace your wild soul.